Hey everybody, this is Dusty with Run Florida. I have Laura Fredrickson here. She is a lady with many hats. Laura, how's it going today?
It's going well, thank you. Yeah, it's going good.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to have you on here because you are a key figure in the state with several different things. The biggest one being FLYRA. Um, so let's kind of get started with how did you get started in running? Like, have you always been in running? Like, where did it start for Miss Fredrickson?
Well, actually, it's funny because it started with the age group that I like to put on meets for. It started in junior high from Fort Walton Beach. Went to
Okay.
Pryor Junior High, Choctaw, or Choctawhatchee. Um, my brother, when he was in eighth grade, liked this little blonde girl who was on the cross country team. So he went out for cross country because she was cute. And then my brother's pretty persuasive and came back and said, uh, one day he said, let's go running. And so he took me out for 4 miles in sixth grade.
Okay.
That was long. You remember the LSD days, long, slow distance?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So he got me, I was competitive anyway. And when I look back in my childhood, I didn't really walk anywhere. I always ran everywhere. I like to sprint across the house, sprint here, sprint there. So there was a tendency to move. And joined I was back then in seventh grade. So the summer before seventh grade, junior high, I joined the cross country team because he had a summer running program. Coach Westbrook was his name. He coached elementary, junior high, and high school. He had all three divisions. And my brother, I just started running. My first race was a 10K after 1 month.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't finish it. I didn't finish it. It's called the Destin to Fort Walton, and I was third from last. And there was two girls behind me, and then the trail van. And I decided to quit. They drove me in, and the two girls behind me won my age group. So
Oh,
that was that was the only race I ever quit, and then just ran all through junior high, ran in high school, in 1 year of college.
okay.
I was good at it.
So
Um,
what was your brother's interest name? Do you remember her name? Because I mean, essentially all this started because of her.
It was Tracy Sigler. There was the Sigler sisters that in Fort Walton that ran in elementary, and then they moved up to junior high. So it was Tracy.
Okay.
I ended up running with her down the road at Georgia State University, but
Oh, awesome.
it's been a really long time since I've seen her. But that was the start,
Okay.
and ran all through junior high. I quit band, I quit ballet because I was better at running, track and cross country, and then ran in high school as well. After high school, I did take a year off. I think I needed a break from running, and then started running again, went up to Atlanta area, and then on up to running camp. I was taking another friend for running camp. And my friend Tracy talked the coach into looking at me to run for Georgia State. So since it was close to the beginning of the year, they gave me what money they had, but I still had to live on my own. Georgia State didn't have a campus, and ran a cross country season for them. And then a little too much for me,
Gotcha.
working 30 hours a week, racing college and paying bills. I went back home to Fort Walton, finished there at junior college, went to FSU, but didn't walk on or go to the FSU, see if I could run for them.
I gotcha.
I think I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
I
Well,
had the time, I had the times, but I didn't have confidence in myself for it.
I gotcha. Well, you
Yeah.
actually answered one of my questions also, which was, did you do anything other than cross country? And you said you did ballet and you were in the band.
Yeah, I started ballet. I did ballet for 5 years before even getting into running. I was on toe shoes for a year and did band. And then I quit band because I wanted to be on the cross country team, and you can't really do both.
No, it's
And then
hard.
after 1 year of doing both ballet and competition or running, I eventually just quit ballet as well.
Gotcha.
But it did give me a good base. I mean, I'm very flexible. I didn't really get injured too often. I had the good base of strength and lower leg strength for that.
Okay. Well, moving on to, I guess, adulthood from there. How did you become the athletic director and the coach of the Tampa Bay Heat?
Well, it all goes back to homeschooling. I started homeschooling. I finished in 2017 homeschooling my kids, but around 2009, I joined a homeschool group, and that group was in a league, and they just added cross country.
Okay.
I run that league now, or did, TB Cal. I've been doing that one for 16 years. Um, so then we left that particular group and started Tampa Bay Heat for the sole purpose of getting our kids into the FHSAA, because at the time you
Right.
can't do cross country without being in the FHSAA. And it was just it all came together in the March of 2010. Three of us moms put together Tampa Bay Heat was created, and when we were we were filling out the FHSAA paperwork, there was three positions you had to list: was principal, secretary, and AD. And I wasn't going to be the principal, and I don't have great organization skills. And so those two moms filled the other positions, and they looked at me and said, "Well, I guess you're AD." And so I kind of got thrown into the athletic director position. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, not my gift, paperwork.
Right.
And then you get to throw on homeschool paperwork.
Right.
But so that's how I became athletic director, and then coach. I started coaching homeschool kids around 2008. Then we created Tampa Bay Heat in 2010, and I just retired as coach in May.
Okay.
So 16, 17 years as coach.
Awesome.
Got
Awesome.
rid of AD position in 2020 when I saw that it was going to be more bureaucratic with COVID.
Right.
I said, no. So we put somebody else in the position, and they do a better job than I did.
Okay. Well, um, so we're going to move on to the FLYRA stuff, but before we do, I hear you're going to do something fun this year, the
Mm,
Friday before FLYRA.
yes. So I'll use this as a coaches meeting because I haven't done an email yet out. One of the things this year is FLYRA fell on 10/31 and 11/1. And the last time it fell on that was in 2014, and didn't really hear anything about falling on Halloween. Well, this past year, I've gotten at least 10 emails kind of fussing about it, and can't change the date. You know that once you put
Right.
an event in and you start booking and making arrangements, insurance, and all that, you just can't really change your date because everything gets built around that. So I got inspired, even though I got the emails fussing at me about being on Halloween. I thought, well, you know what? It only comes around every 11 years. So let's have fun with it. Because by the time it comes around another 11 years, I'll probably be too old for it and won't be around.
Right.
So the Friday before is elementary. We'll probably see a drop in numbers because of that, but that's okay. I want to spoil the kids that do come, that do give up their Halloween and their trunk or treat or trick or treat. So the plan is every elementary finisher that comes across the line will get a bag that says FLYRA Finisher on it. I have candy for it. And my goal is as they've come across and they're walking out the chute, they'll go down to the team tent area. And I'm wanting the coaches and the teams to decorate their tents and, like a neighborhood, sit out there with their chairs, have the little kids walk by, and they can put candy or whatever they want into their bags. So we can spoil the kids that are there.
So like
So
a tent block party is what you have going on.
I called it the tent or treat.
Okay.
And just like a neighborhood, if you don't want to participate, it's okay. Turn off your lights. If you want to participate, decorate your tent, bring a bag of candy. And I know some of the parents, some of the disappointment from the parents I got in the emails wasn't necessarily from the kids. It was also about them missing it. And I understand that. That's fun to go out into your neighborhood and sit on your driveway and watch all the kids come by. So it's for them as well.
Okay.
We've scheduled it. The kids will race at 4:30. We kept the time to change, the time the same. So that's my goal, is that the other teams will get into it and make it enjoyable and fun and memorable. I can't check the tradition box, but I can check the memory box for this. The other things
Awesome.
we have going is the DJ. He's got lots of little goodies that I've bought him. He's got some games. So we'll have some DJ party or some games and some fun. And then I got permission from Holloway Park to take the warm up trail and make it a haunted trail. And Florida Southern College team is going to help me with that. So we'll have a warm up trail, and we'll have one warm up trail that is scary. And then you either can go to the right to go to the scary trail, or you can go to the left and go down the pumpkin patch. And all that will just take place on Friday from 3 to 6, maybe 3 to 6:30, depends on when everybody gets out. Um, I'm sure the coaches will tell the kids to do their course previews first, get all the serious work done, and then we can play. Saturday, we're not addressing Halloween. You're there for championships. So Friday, we're trying to make it an enjoyable, memorable. In 2014, one of my favorite memories was Pinecrest girls. Remember when Scion was,
Yep.
yeah. They came on that Friday in a costume of tutus. And I just thought that was so cute. It still sticks with me as one of my favorite memories. And then they won the championship the next day. So it's what you make it. We'll provide the atmosphere, and we just need the coaches and the families to get on board. And like I said, it's all voluntary. If it's not something you want to do, you don't have to do it. But let's make the kids who do come, let's spoil them. That's my philosophy on it.
All right. Well, sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
That's my
so
coaches meeting.
that's your coaches meeting. That's a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. The wrap on the coaches meeting.
All right. Well, let's talk about FLYRA. So, how did FLYRA get started?
The same within 2 months of me also starting Tampa Bay Heat. It's really weird. We started Tampa Bay Heat first, and then with about 2 months later, FLYRA was started. Uh, we were when Florida runners had their discussion boards at one time. I believe it was Joe Mazarek got on the discussion board and asked the question, how do we increase the number of high school runners? And I commented, well, you got to go to the middle school level. So then more people got on the discussion, and the discussion was, what can we do for middle school? And a few people started, were a core group. Jason was one of them, Bill Convey, Joe Mazarek, and me. Uh, Came together and started, well, what's the first thing we need to do is a championship. And they kind of like the AD, they looked at me and said, you can be the meet director. So it's funny because the biggest race I had directed was a TP Cal race of 100 kids. So it was kind of
Wow.
nerve wracking to know.
Right.
But FLYRA started in probably June, July, the concept in 2010. We set a date about the midweek of November, second weekend of November. I booked Sun and Fun with Mark Zimmerman. We're still good friends, and we still work together in meet directing. We booked Sun and Fun. And the first year, you got to guess. I thought, well, I'll just plan for 500.
Right.
Jason asked me, where'd you come up with that number? I'm like, I just guess, because there's really no other numbers you can work with. I believe we had 420, so it's a good number. Second year, I was going back to Sun and Fun, and they overbooked me with somebody else. So Mark introduced me to Mr. Holloway, but we went to Sandland. He has a nature park next to the RV park and golf course. And he did the same thing there, built trails, and beautiful trails, big oak trees by water, same thing we see at Holloway Park. And again, we had 500 runners in that one, which was good because parking wasn't, the best. So go back one more year. I go back to Sandland. Hey, can I book Sandland? And Mr. Holloway walks into the manager's room, the Sandland's room, and says, ask me all these questions about what do I need in a course as a meet director? What are you looking for? He goes, I want to show you something. So he takes me over to Holloway Park and drives all around. He says, I want to make this a cross country park and I want to make it the best park in the United States. And, we're redheaded stepchildren when it comes to facilities. It all goes to soccer, it all goes to everybody else. And
Right.
I literally left with tears on my eyes of what his plan was because he took all our input. I believe Paul White, he does Jim Ryan. I'm pretty sure he talked to Jason, he talked to me, and he took all our input. And the things that we said was parking and a big start line. Don't turn for, 700 meters. And the next week he was moving dirt and starting a start line. So
That's
that's
awesome.
how yeah. And I actually started the very first race there. Paul White had asked me to run the middle school division of his race, and it was a lot of my kids. And they're standing on the start line, and it's all sandy. And I said, you guys need to remember this moment because in 20 years from now, you're going to bring your children back to this park. Um, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
it's just, yeah, the
it keeps
facility.
getting bigger and bigger, and they have so many
Yeah,
events there every year.
yeah. It was such a relief to not worry about parking
Mhm.
and not worry about how many you got on your start line.
Right.
Actually, the start line is 300 feet, a little bigger, 330 feet across.
Right.
Um, I think we've
So
got
there's not many of those in the state.
no, no, and it's just grown every year. And then what's what caused FLYRA to grow wasn't me. It's all the coaches that brought their teams then go back and talk about it.
Right.
I just looked at the qualifiers for Lake County. Um, Kevin from Red Sea Runners and Tafaris put that on, but Kevin's been one of the biggest cheerleaders of FLYRA. And I remember looking at Lake County championships and maybe 4, 5, 6 schools. Well, he had 12 schools at his championship.
Right.
So,
Well, and
and it just going
even
back.
where I was up in Lake City, I think Lake City Middle School was, I don't know if it was the first year, or the second year. I think they
Yes,
won the championship, and up in,
they did.
I don't live there anymore, but up in that area, Swanee's now a big team up there.
Yeah.
So I mean, even in small little counties, they're getting big numbers for the middle school and even now the elementary school, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Pinellas County's coming on board this year. They got a new AD. Dan has been timing their events, talking about FLYRA. AD used to do track and was a thrower. Got sent all the ones who qualified for the track meet. Now I'm seeing Pinellas County schools sign up. I remember doing an interview one time about 12, 13 years ago when FLYRA was still new. And I said something about Jacksonville. I said, we don't have anybody from Jacksonville. Jacksonville is the
Huge,
hotbed now.
huge.
Whew, it's
Yes,
huge.
yes,
It's exciting. It's
it is.
exciting.
It is. Well, so the starting point, like I remember it starting out, and it wasn't a big thing, but it grew very quickly, and it's continuing to grow. Like you said, with the elementary adding
Mhm.
on to it as well. Is there anything moving forward that you kind of have like up your sleeve, or that you're wanting to do, or are you guys going to try and make it like a stronger championship, like maybe harder to get into? Because I mean, when they move up to the next level at high school, not everybody makes it past the
Yeah.
district or region to state. Like,
Yeah.
it is a true competition to get to the state championships. So, like, the numbers are big enough now to where there might be a lot of kids not make it. And while that's bad, well, it's not a bad thing. It's not. I mean, it stinks
Yeah.
for some of the
Yeah.
kids, but that, I think it makes it more meaningful for the ones that do make it, and for the ones that may have to work and maybe they don't make it to the FLYRA state championships, but they work harder in high school and then they make it to the FHSA state championships.
Or I say, no, you can't, I'm not going to give you a waiver. And then they make it in the next race. I've had a few of those. Actually, I was watching one.
Right.
But let me go back to what you just said about, so around 2020, we reached the point that we should just have that championship, one championship. Everybody raced it
Hmm.
like you do at FL Runners or all the regular season races. But we were getting 420, 450 kids on the line. You can get them on the start.
It's
The
the
issue we
finish.
were having, right? The
Yes.
problem we had is because you got the best in the state, they're not strung out.
No, they
They're
all
not,
finish in a
they're all
pack.
exactly. So I would look at the data with Mike from Elite Timing and I'd go through it, and we were having 6 kids a second at the bubble come across the finish line.
Right.
And it just, so there was some growing pains from 2020 to 2022 to 23 where we needed a new structure. They didn't quite have it yet. Um, I didn't want to tighten. I didn't really want to tighten the 10%. It was 25% back then. I didn't really want to tighten it too much because I felt like we'd really be missing a lot. But by going where we are now, going to a public school division, a private school division, a charter school division, and club, it allows we get more kids in, um, but it allowed us to still keep with the top 10% and the top. I went to 30% on the schools.
Gotcha.
So we're still getting the cream of the crop. We just break them down. And then we go ahead and give each division, it's just like the high school state meet. They
Right.
all get their top 15 medals and we give bags, we give top 10 bags. So each division, girls and boys, get their top team backpack, top 10 backpacks. I like the format now. I know it was, people were resisting it because they want the all out competition, but it's just the direction we needed to go. And it seems to fit, because a charter school can go back and say, I won the charter school division, I'm state champion.
Well, and it's really no different than 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. So, I mean,
Exactly.
the sizes are probably a little different club versus school in some instances, but realistically, you're just creating the divisions based off of the clientele that you have.
Yeah. And what we do is we kept, so the two divisions will race with each other, but they'll be scored out because you'll still get that intense competition. And somebody in a public school won't know, well, they might know by the uniforms, but they won't know who's next to them and they're going to race just as fast. And us going to this division, we were able to bring in clubs. We wouldn't score clubs for the first probably 8 years. And now we can. So they get their own. Our biggest division is public school and private, and then charter and club. And public and club run together. They race together, but they get scored out separately. And then private and charter race together. And nobody knows why I put them then, but the reason why was I was striving to keep FHSAA schools together.
Okay.
So most of your charter schools are FHSAA members. Most of your
Right.
private schools are FHSAA members. So I was able to also keep them together. And then your public schools, middle school, there's not very many FHSAA members in middle school. Believe me, I went through and looked. And then you have your clubs together. So you have a large division with a smaller division. And it ends up, a lot of the kids in clubs end up going to public schools or end up going to, so they already kind of know each other anyway. They just happen to be on a club team as opposed to, Hillsborough County does not have public school cross country. That's why you see a lot of clubs coming out of Hillsborough County. There's
Right.
no public school cross country.
Okay.
But they end up racing the public school kids when they get to high school anyway.
Right. Right. Well, that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to this year. I've been there a couple of years and witnessed the whole FLYRA experience. I'm excited. I unfortunately won't be able to make it on Friday, but I'll be there Saturday with my drone.
Awesome.
So
Yay!
yay! So we'll make some videos and hopefully get some good highlights for the kids to look back years from now, and the parents to share with family members that couldn't be there. Um, so Run Florida will be there. So
Awesome.
check out our website and our YouTube channel afterwards. We won't have any merch there. We want everything to go towards Laura's and you guys, buying the shirts there. So make sure you
Well,
get the
thank you.
event shirts from her. And Laura, thank you again for coming on. And you're always welcome to come on if you want to make an announcement of any kind. So it's always open for
Thank
you.
you for having me and let me do my coaches meeting. I'll get it out in email, but I'm able to at least tell people ahead of time.
Absolutely. Well, you have a good one, and I'll see you in a few
Thank you,
weeks.
Dusty, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.